Do your paintings suffer from tight, rigid marks that leave your painting feeling flat or lifeless? If that's you, then you're going to love this video I'm calling From Stiff to Stunning, and I'm going to share with you 3 simple tricks that will bring energy and movement to your paintings. And be sure to stay tuned to the end where I'll share my simple trick for painting lively, happy bees that add a joyful finishing touch. So grab your pastels and here we go. I'd like to begin by bringing you into the studio and showing you my setup. I have a French easel with the legs folded in, just sitting on a tabletop. It's one of those electric desks that I can raise or lower with the push of a button. I have just some regular drawing paper. I'm going to do a sketch to begin with. And I also have my lighting. That's so important if you're going to be filming yourself or when you're painting. These are just some lights I got on Amazon. I'll try to put all these products in the description of the video. And that's my ring light where I put my camera phone to film myself. I'm left-handed, so I keep it on the right. Now let's talk about this reference image. This happens to be one of my own. I was blessed to be able to visit a beautiful sunflower field in Plant City, Florida, which is about 15 minutes from where I live. And it was a magical experience to walk among these tall sunflowers and capture some great video and photographs. And I want to show you my first trick for creating more lively marks in your art. And it begins with the reference image. I like to use photo editing tools, even the ones that are built into your phone, to boost contrast, shift color, or simplify shapes. This helps you to focus on the energy and not just the details. Some of the tools that I use are not free, like Photoshop and one app here called Lensa. This is literally my phone and some of my video and picture editing apps. And one that I love is Lensa, and it is a paid-for app, but I just want to show you real quickly some features that I like, and then I'm going to show you a free app in case you don't want to pay for anything. So I just pulled up my main photo, and I want to show you down here on the bottom, there is a section called Art Styles, and it's really just some filters, but there's some fun ones, and you can alter them to different intensities and degrees. So I just play around with a few of them and really just have some fun. And I find that just this process inspires me and gives me creative ideas. Notice how this kind of simplified some of the elements in the scene. So again, just play around, and often it allows you to see your photo in an entirely new way, and just save the ones you like. Now here's another app that's free. It's called Snapseed, and it just has this little survey here. I'm definitely over 28 years old, and I'm just going to pull up this photo. It actually has been altered a little already, and show you what happens if I just hit autocorrect. It's down there on the bottom left, and I don't normally like the autocorrect version. So I typically go down to adjustments, and I'll adjust things like the brightness, the contrast, and often the saturation. So you can see just how I'm able to play with it and look at it. And I'm telling you, just this process will inspire you and again, allow you to see your reference image in new light. And I do believe it really helps with the liveliness of your final painting. And if you're a patron of mine on my Patreon page, you will get access to my images. And I made you a photo editing download that lists many of the free apps and resources for you. And if you want to know how to become a patron, I'll tell you that in just a little bit. Now let's talk about trick number 2, which is creating a sketch before you paint. And you see me holding up my hands. I was holding up my left hand first to show you that I'm left-handed. But I begin a sketch often with my non-dominant hand. Now, what does this do? It causes your marks to be more gestural and lively. I mean, if you've never tried it, just try it. Now, I do admit, if there's any lefties out there, you probably know left-handed people are typically a little ambidextrous. We live in a right-handed world, and often we're forced to do things with our right hands. But you should definitely give this a try. I find that when I'm working on a painting, let's say I'm adding a lot of flowers in the field, and there's a tendency to pattern things, and they don't feel spontaneous. So just switch your pastel to the opposite hand. Now, I didn't do this whole sketch with my right hand, but I think you will find it will create more gesture and movement in your art. And I think you'll find, like I do, that anytime I do this, an initial sketch, my painting always comes out better. So I highly recommend it. Now, I did end up adding some color to this. I was just having fun. And if you're a patron of mine, you have the full video with this whole process. But I loved the fact that this one sunflower is just reaching up above the others. I decided to name this painting Rise and Shine. Let's talk about my pastel painting surface. It's called Canson Velvet Pastel Paper. It's a new favorite of mine and for many of my patrons on my Patreon page. It's a cream colored sheet. I believe the size is like 12 by 16. And here you can see I'm just putting a piece of tape. This is artist tape on the bottom of my painting surface because I wanted it to be a little more wide horizontally and not the full sheet. Now I do end up moving it a little bit and it gives you a little flexibility to enlarge your painting if you need to. And I'm going to speed through the sketching process because you've already seen it once before. And I didn't use my right hand for this part of the sketch. I actually just forgot. But I get the sketch completed and I'm using a Prismacolor New Pastel, just a burgundy color. And now I'm going to create an underpainting just to make this painting really glow with energy and excitement. Which leads me to tip number 3 to energize your art is to create a glowing underpainting. This is going to bring such color excitement to your final painting. I chose these gorgeous values of a similar color that was kind of a pink and cool reds. And I chose 4 different values for this. You don't have to use 4 different values. You could actually just tone your surface with one gorgeous color, kind of like the one I have in my hand here. But I first got down my lightest value, which was that pink for the sky. And now I'm just working on my next lightest value, which is this pretty almost coral or salmon color. And I'm just using it to make quick little gestural marks around for the petals of my sunflowers. And now I'm using the third value. It's got a bit more, it's a little darker and it's a little bit more red. And I'm using it for kind of the shadowy side of the centers of the flowers. And by the way, you can tell from where I'm putting the shadows where the light source is. It's kind of up to the left. And I shook my finger there because I didn't like how some of my sunflower placement was looking too patterned. Our brains have a tendency to pattern things, to make them equidistant, and I like the spontaneity and randomness of nature, so I was just making a note to myself to try to correct that. And this is the darkest of the 4, and it is kind of a magenta brown, and I'm using it for the distant tree line. Vertical elements are almost always darker, and the foreground, typically the roots, if you have a camera angle where you're kind of down low and you're seeing the foreground grasses, it's usually a little darker there. Now I'm going back to my middle value, kind of the reddish color, the third one that I used, and I'm just putting it kind of in the middle to distant land part of the image. And now I'm going back to my second one that was in the lineup to get some of the leaves in because they were a little lighter. It seemed like the sun was really shining down on them to make them a little bit lighter. Now, why am I doing this? Well, I want to create an underpainting that's really going to make some of the other colors pop. And why did I choose this pink? Well, I know it's warmer than a lot of the greens, and sometimes I'll go really warm with more like yellowy golden colors, but in this case, I thought some cool reds would really make everything pop, and sure enough, it did. I was very happy with this choice. Now, because I'm using Canson Velvet, it is a surface that has the ability to take wet mediums like water, which I love because you can literally wet pastels with water and it turns them into paint, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I have a glass of water and 2 brushes. I also like to have folded up paper towel near me when I'm doing this technique to control the water. Now this first brush is called a Hake brush, Hake. I like that it's large. And this is a Princeton brush. It's called a Round Princeton Art and Brush Company brush. And I haven't been able to find that again on Amazon, but use the largest brushes that you can. It really does help it to feel more painterly when you do. So I've got my Hake brush. I'm just dipping it in the water. I'm speeding this up because I think you get the idea and you can actually kind of see it come to life better when I speed it up. So I'm dipping the water to where I have a decent amount, but not to where it's just totally dripping. And you get the hang of this the more you do it. You can see it dripping a little on the side, which I kind of like the drips. And I'm just rinsing it out in the same dish. And now I'm using my brush that's a little bit smaller. And I'm going to get in the centers of my sunflowers. And I'm actually still kind of painting directionally. I'm moving my brush the same way I would if I was doing this with pastels. And I'm just wetting the centers of the sunflowers. And now I'm going to just soften with water some of those edges around the sunflowers that represent the petals that I used the lighter, not the lightest value, but the second to lightest value around. background. And don't worry if this just looks a little bit crazy when you're doing it. That's part of this lively, painterly effect that you want to achieve at the end. And notice even how I'm holding my brush here. I don't cinch up on it like a pencil. I let my arm do a lot of the work. And that will also create those lively gestural marks. And I'm just getting the gesture of these petals. I am going to be thickening them up a bit when I add pastels, but I wanted the flower to feel like it was blowing in the wind. And again, just that loose and fun, impressionistic, lively feel. Now I'm using the brush to get those distant background trees. Again, vertical elements are often the darkest in a landscape. And I don't know what I just did with my fingers there, but I'm using my larger brush again, the hotkey brush, and I'm getting in the wetting the foreground area and then the middle ground area. And that's really all there is to this. Now, the neat thing about this is you can use this like paint. I have a little bit of the pastel that's liquefied on my brush, and watch how I can move it around within the painting. I wanted my upper part of my sky, I'm going to be getting to it in just a minute, to be a little darker. So you can see I'm just using the same pastel that's on my brush to add it to places to darken. And I think you'll be able to see that by darkening the perimeter of the sky really gives a moody and painterly effect, allowing the viewer to kind of hone in on the focal area. Once it's dry, it doesn't take long, it's time for soft pastels. Now, these were some of the pastels I started with. I chose my color palette to have some cool greens and some kind of aqua, blue aqua colors. And right now what I'm doing is I'm arranging them according to color temperature and value, but I also have some warm greens. You can see the ones at the top are warmer. Warmer greens have more yellow, cooler greens have more blue. And this is a dark green that I'm going to use. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these that I pre-selected, but I want to let you know that if you're a patron of mine on my Patreon page, I made a whole video of all of my pastels I used after the painting was done. So patrons, find that supplemental footage over on the Patreon page. And as I mentioned before, my patrons obviously get some extra goodies. They support my channel and also support me as an artist, so it's wonderful. And I go all out for my patrons. I try to give them so much content, and it's a beautiful place. I love the fact that I get to see their artwork. We have contests, and they get the full footage of the rest of this video with more of my mark making tips, techniques, and tricks to bring energy and life to your work. But I'm going to take you, my Monet Cafe subscribers and friends, to the end of this video where I create the lively and happy bees, and I'm going to show you my techniques for doing that. But first, let me share with you how you can become a patron if you'd like all these goodies I'm always talking about. It's real easy. It's only $5 a month currently, and you get so much extra instruction. You become part of a beautiful family. Like I said, I get to see your work, and it's a beautiful, happy place. You can find the link in the description of this video. And can I ask you another quick favor while I've got you here? Would you go ahead and click that thumbs up like button? It really helps YouTube to share this video more often. And of course, subscribe and comment if you like. Before getting to the bees, I thought I'd show you a little close-up of the sunflower once I worked on it a little more, and you can see some of those gestural, lively marks. Again, I talk about that more on the Patreon version. Now, let's talk about this bee. I've got a dark pastel. You could use whatever you have. This happens to be an eggplant color by Terry Ludwig, and I'm going to make 2 or 3 little marks. Now, these are just going to be little bees. They're just for gesture and little buzzing excitement around the flower. And yes, it is hard to make these little marks with these big chunky pastels. I didn't do very well with this one, but really less is more with this. Don't fuss and fiddle over it or you're going to make your bee feel too tight. I just added a little mark of bright yellow on the top. Now you could do it that way, but often I'll start, and I kind of forgot here, I'll start with a darker kind of golden color first, and then, like I'm doing here, add my brighter yellow on top of the golden color. So you're going to see me do another bee in just a minute where I do it the way I described. And then I just add some gestural little wings. Now the trick is gesture. Just some little quick little movements. Again, don't overwork it, and don't fiddle with it too much. And lo and behold, before you know it, you have the suggestion of a bee. And that's all we're looking for here. With a scene like this, you're not really, like if you're looking at a field, you're not really honing in and looking at the detail of the bee. You just see it kind of moving really quickly. So here I'm getting in some more little areas where I want to put my bees. Again, making just some little black marks. The further away they are, the smaller they're going to be, and you don't even need to make the 3 little marks if they're super tiny and far away. So I'm doing my same little strategy of putting my little golden color and then my little yellow color on the back. And now my little bluish color, sorry, one was out of the scene. And I wanted to mention, I first saw this technique by artist Karen Margulis. She's a fantastic pastel artist. But watch this little bee right here. This is probably the best example. 1, 2, I only did 2. Well, maybe, there you go. There's the 3 marks. And again, if they're far away, 1 mark or 2 is fine. And these are so little, I decided just for this one, just to go with the little bit of yellow. Again, kind of right behind where the head would be. And the little gesture for the wings. Isn't that simple? I mean, it really isn't rocket science. It's just mark making, that's all. For my final marks, I decided just to give some more life and gesture to some of these sunflowers. I created just some lively little jagged marks to represent just some of the petals catching some of the sunlight. I had so much fun energizing this reference image and creating a painting that was vibrating with life, movement, and color excitement. And I hope you've learned a lot. And I want to mention that I do talk about my patrons and my Patreon page a lot, but I am so grateful to each and every one of my subscribers. I've come to know many of you and even developed some friendships, some virtual friendships. All right, this is the close-up of the final painting, and I'm excited to hear from you. I would love to hear in the comments what you learned from this video, and if you're going to give it a try, if you learned something new, I always love to hear from you. I've been meaning to mention too, some of you have asked about my Etsy shop. I've had it on vacation mode for quite some time. I've been just so busy. I have so much new artwork to add, including this painting. So stay tuned. I hope to have that up and running again in the next month or so. All right, everyone, God bless and happy painting.